Hi, my name is Nonku. Today we're making beef ribs and mac and cheese. About a month ago, we slaughtered a cow, and these are the ribs we got out of it. I'm gonna cook it using a short rib recipe, solely because I don't know whether these are normal ribs or short ribs or the difference between the two. I'll Google. I'm gonna remove all the fat. Well, not all of it, but a generous amount. And now we're gonna do the same for these two pieces. So we put a generous amount of olive oil. Then we're just going to drop each rib on very high heat. We want to salt and pepper this as it's burning. Salt and pepper. That's browning quite nicely. So we are done browning. The chopped items, you have onions, peppers, carrots, and celery. So we're gonna start cooking those now and then re-enter the beef ribs into the pot. Let's go. Up to onions, peppers. Okay, cool. We'll let this cook for a little bit and then we'll start adding spices to put the meat back, and then it hits the oven for about 2 hours. So now the spices that I'll be using for the beef ribs, we have cayenne pepper, garam masala, paprika, ground cumin, star anise. I never know how to pronounce this one, but green cardamom, cardamom, sharp. I got assistance there, and then cloves. So we're just gonna add all of that. Okay, so now we're just gonna mix all of that in, let it cook for a bit. Okay, cool. So this is cooked for a bit of time. I don't want it to overcook, but because I do want it to cook with the beef inside. Let's put the ribs back. We're gonna put them on the side so that I can fit as many as possible. Cool. So the next step, you add a generous amount of wine. Like, we're going above the normal 250 here. You need to be generous because you want these to soak into the wine. Then we add some beef stock. Again, a generous amount. Mustard. Today I'm using Dijon mustard, which is quite strong, so I'm not going to add a lot. Less salt soy sauce. Again, a dash here. I don't want a lot. Tomato paste. Ooh, that was ready to come out. Celery, carrot.
It's in celery.
Cool. I'm just gonna move these into the moisture because I want them to cook in that. So now we've put everything we want in here for the beef ribs. We're gonna put the lid on top and cook it in the oven for 2.5 hours. Cool. So what we're gonna do now is start doing the macaroni and cheese. The pasta is almost ready. The beef fat that we cut off of the ribs, I was going to use it for something else. So what I will be doing is I will be cooking it into this pot to get the juices to flow out. I'll take those juices and put them in the macaroni and cheese to give it that beef flavor. I'm going to go and strain the macaroni and then we'll get going with the mac and cheese cheesy mixture. I have strained the pasta. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to cook the beef fat. Some salt and pepper. So we're gonna let this cook and I just realized it's not a non-stick. That's going to be awkward. But we're going to let it cook. I want the juices of the fat to come out, and then I will pour them into the macaroni and cheese mixture. We'll be mixing these 3 cheeses all together into this bowl, and then we'll be using it as part of the one cooking of the mac and cheese as well as the baking of it. So over and above these 3 cheeses, we will also be adding feta and parmesan, but you'll see that when we're mixing the mac and cheese together. So I've mixed all the cheeses together. I'm now just going to make sure that they well balanced equally across the bowl so that we don't have too much of one cheese. We do have Gouda here, which is very salty. We have cheddar, which is standard, and then mozzarella, which will give that nice melted texture. I'm not a fan of mozzarella, but the melted texture that it gives, I really, really love on top of the mac and cheese. So as you can see, we've got quite a bit of oil from the fat. So we're going to take this, and this will be the base of the macaroni and cheese. First things first, we're going to take the oils and we're going to put them here. Butter. Okay, so we want the butter to melt so that we can make the creamy part of it, which is from the butter. Guys, it's family Thanksgiving, so there's a million people in the video, in the sound and whatnot. The dogs are the issue for me, but my mom would kill me if I kicked her dogs out, so the dogs will stay. So we are going to have scenes where there's a lot of people behind me, and it's solely because we are cooking as a family, we are bonding, and this is our Thanksgiving dinner. I'm just recording my 2 meals. I am making a third, maybe, we'll see. And then everybody else is making different. I've put the beef oils, I've also put the butter. And before we put the flour, we're actually going to put the dry spices that will make the flavors that go into the macaroni and cheese. Cayenne pepper, turmeric, and paprika. To make the creamy part of the macaroni, you put the flour into the butter. It forms a bit of a cream. So we just mix it. You want the flour to actually cook a bit. It seems my temperature is a bit high because we have bubbles, and you don't want to see bubbles. If you see bubbles, it means you're not going to see how your flour is cooking. Okay, so I have added enough flour now. Okay, let me show you what it looks like. But once it looks like that, it means you have enough flour, you have enough butter. The next step is for me to add milk so that I can make a cream out of this. So let's do that now. So some milk. Okay, cool. So the milk is in. So now I'm going to keep mixing and adding a bit more milk and mix. I need salt. Salt, salt, salt. The flavors are there though. It's just lacking salt, in my opinion. A little bit of salt. Okay, not a little. Salt. As you can see, it is very saucy now. Just a very small bit, like very small bit of Dijon mustard. Now we bring in the cheese. So we're going to do a generous amount of the 3 cheeses into here, but only half because you still need the other half to build the actual mac and cheese. So this is more of like a 5 cheese type of macaroni and cheese. There were 3 cheeses into this mix that I had, feta and then parmesan. So now I'm going to add a little bit of feta, but I want the feta to still be chunky because I want you to bite into it and get the grasp of feta. So with the cheese, it's going to be more sticky, which is what you want. You want this to be very sticky and delicious. So now we add back the pasta. The sound that you need to hear to know that your mac and cheese is at the right consistency or viscosity. Okay, cool. So the beef. Oh, these are looking gorgeous. I did add rosemary at the end, but these are looking hot. I'm gonna do the mixing of the macaroni and cheese on that side so that the rest of the family can get an opportunity to the stove. Let's go. The flavors are out of this world, yeah. But it's gonna take a bit of time. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna build the mac and cheese flavors. Okay, so you're gonna take the mac and cheese combo, and with the first layer, put it in to the thing. About 50% of what you have. I think that's 50% of mine. And then you're gonna spread it out. Then what we're gonna add is some Parmesan cheese. Okay, Parmesan cheese. So we've added some Parmesan. Yeah, cool. So you're gonna add half of the remaining on top here. Second half, all of it must go in. You see that orange color that we have here? It means we have the flavor, the right flavors that we want. Ooh, love it, love it, love it. Parmesan cheese. So now we're gonna add the rest of the 3 cheeses just to get that top layer that goes, but you'll see at the end. So this is now ready. I'm gonna put it in the oven and then you'll see it at the end of the video when we put everything else together. The mac and cheese is done, and listen to this sound, which means it's exactly the crust we wanted. So then look at the rib. What we're gonna do now, as you can see, the sous chefs are busy. So everybody's gonna finish their respective dishes, and then we'll put everything together and I'll show you the final dishes. This is the Hadebe household Thanksgiving dinner. The 2 dishes that I made that are in the video that you are watching, it is these beef ribs, which came out absolutely delectable, and then the lasagna, also delicious. And then from the rest of my family, as I said, I'm the cook that shows it off, but they're the cooks that literally know how to cook well. You have this delicious salmon from my sister. You have this delicious, it's chicken na spinach from my other sister. So when you come to the sides, you have this from my darling Zama. So Zama made the salad. And then my mom made the carrots. My mom made the potatoes with a bacon bit and a bit of the juices from that beef fat that we had. So we used it for both the mac and cheese as well as the potatoes. Coleslaw, we bought a ready-made coleslaw and we just had to add the mayo. And then rice, standard basmati. I added cinnamon sticks, cloves, star anise, which is that thing, and then some cardamom. We have the feast that is in front of us, and this is our yearly Osia. We have a feast that smells delicious ahead of us, and it's Thanksgiving. Thanks. Hey, oh, thanks. Hey, Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving season. Happy December, my people. And I hope you guys are able to celebrate.